Mystical greetings, witches and warlocks, and welcome to another episode of Crystals, Cauldrons, and Conversations, the podcast where we talk about all things witchy, mystical, and magical, while also tying in healing, wellness, and personal growth. I'm your magical host, Kaylee, and today we're talking about chakras. So before I get started, I do want to give a shout out to the Facebook group We Are the Witches You Couldn't Burn. One of the admins on there, Alyssa, allowed me to shout out or promote my podcast on that group. She also has a business called Mystical Divinations, where she offers local services as well as digital services. So check them out on Facebook. We Are the Witches You Couldn't Burn is the group. And she also has the business Magical Divinations, which also has its own page. So shout out to her. Thanks again for letting me promote my podcast in the group. I really appreciate it. So we're getting into chakras today. So this podcast has really been, because now we're on episode 10, a journey for me learning not only how to be a podcaster, but also learning paganism and getting into my spirituality and the, witchy side of me. I've really enjoyed getting to learn things and having you guys learn alongside with me, which has been really great. So up until I did the research that I needed to do for this episode, I didn't know much about chakras. I used to actually pronounce them chakras, which a lot of people do, but it is actually pronounced chakra, the way it's spelled. So I'm glad that you guys are here to learn with me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you can learn something from this episode. And I don't know about you guys, but where I'm at, it is literally in the 80s. I did not expect summer weather to come so fast. It is supposed to go back down to spring weather, which I love spring and fall. Those are like my favorite temperatures, so I'm really hoping some spring weather comes back. I was not quite prepared for the 80s yet. But I do appreciate the winter being gone. It felt like a long winter, if you ask me. So for today's moon muse, the moon is currently in the sign of Aries. So we may have more energy for completing tasks, more compassion and commitment for those tasks. It's a good time to start new projects, either personal ones or even at work. And it is also the new moon. So this is great for rituals of personal growth and healing. It's great for cleansing any tools, any magical tools that you use. The new moon is usually used to start new projects, and it's also ideal for detoxing the body or eliminating negative habits. So today's daily enchantment is actually a healing spell, and this can be for emotional or physical healing. So you can use it for either. So some supplies you may want would be a green candle, lavender essential oil, a small amount of sea salt, a ceramic or glass bowl, and a rose quartz. Again, you can substitute those supplies with the things that resonate with you if you don't have something or if you prefer to use something else. Your intention is the most important part of any spell. So you want to prepare your space or your altar, light the green candle and place it in front of you. Apply a small amount of lavender oil to the hands and rub them to warm the oil while breathing in the calming scent. Lavender is a very calming scent. And then you want to sprinkle a pinch of sea salt around the candle to form a small protective circle. Hold the rose quartz in your left hand, imagining a healing light around you. Focus on the candle's flame and visualize healing energy flowing towards you, enveloping any area that needs healing. Repeat aloud or in your mind if you prefer. Healing energies come to me with deep gratitude. I restore my being. So mote it be. And then you can close the spell by allowing the candle to burn until completely consumed. Or if you do prefer to extinguish it, just do so carefully while thanking the universe or the deities or the spirits or whatever you prefer to thank, however you work with it. While you extinguish the candle, you can thank those things for the healing. A little tip, performing this with calm and like a calm mind and concentration is very helpful to improve it and strengthen it, and deep breathing can actually help with that. So there will be a recap of that in the show notes if you want to try out that spell. So let's get into chakras. So for starters, what are they? Like I said, I didn't really know much about them. Like, I knew the different ways they were represented. I knew there was things about healing your chakras and balancing them, but I didn't really know much else about them. I didn't know where they came from or that they had anything really to do with different parts of the body. I had no idea. So I really learned a lot, and if you need to learn more about chakras or just want to learn more about chakras, then I hope you learned something from this information as well. So chakras are invisible energy centers in the body. So the word chakra actually means little spinning wheels. They help regulate your physical and emotional and spiritual well-being. So you can just think of them as like little glowing doorways between your inner world and everything else around you. So some history. Chakras actually have ancient origins going back thousands of years. They were deeply rooted in spiritual Indian traditions, and they were connected a lot to yoga and meditation, and they still are. Like I said, the word chakra, which comes from Sanskrit, which is an ancient and highly structured Indo-Aryan language, and the word means, like I said, wheel or disc. Sanskrit, like I said, it's the highly structured language, and it's the primary worship language in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. And that originated in India over 3,500 years ago. And so chakras are considered to be ancient energy centers originating in Indian and tantric and yogic traditions between 600 to 13 CE, which means common or current era, with roots even earlier in Vedas. And Vedas is actually the oldest and most sacred of scriptures in Hinduism. And the, I don't want to butcher this name, Upanishads, which is ancient Sanskrit texts that form the philosophical, mystical, and spiritual core of Hinduism. So they have very ancient roots. They've been something that's been around for a very long time. So they're considered focal points of prana, which means energy, in the body. And they are used for meditation. They're used for spiritual awakening and connecting with the divine. So I wanted to talk about some key historical developments. Like I said, they have Vedic roots. So the term chakra first appeared in the Rig Veda, which is the oldest Vedic Sanskrit text and the earliest sacred scripture of Hinduism. This was composed roughly between 1800 and 1100 BCE. So it's very, very, very ancient. They also have roots with tantric traditions. They were developed extensively during this period, with various schools actually proposing different numbers of chakras, but 7 became the most prominent number. So that's why now when we look at them, the prominent number of chakras is 7, but they did originally vary with the different numbers of them before deciding that 7 was going to be the prominent one. So the 7 chakra system. The model that's used today with the 7 chakra system, it was famously described in the Shat Chakra Nirupana. Try to pronounce that correctly. Shat Chakra Nirupana, which was a text written by Purnanuda Uti, and that was composed in 1577. So then there was the Western adoption of the 7 chakra system And that concept was introduced to the West in 1919 by Sir John Woodruff. And that was in his book, The Serpent Power, which translated a bunch of tantric texts. So modernly, it's a holistic health interpretation. Chakras are often associated with colors, sounds, emotions, and to promote well-being. So it has a lot of history before it was taken over in modern times. So like I said, chakras are energy centers in the body. You can see them represented in a variety of ways. You may see them as candles, like in different colors, as stones. I actually have a chakra candle. So it has all the different colors going down. As it burns, it changes to a different color, which is cool. And then each color, with my particular candle, each color represents different things, which is different from the chakra system. It'll represent like good luck and things like that. And the chakra system is completely different from that, but it's set up like a chakra. And then I also have a chakra charm, I guess you could call it, full of stones. So it's a tree of life charm. And hanging down from it is all the different colors, different colored stones that each one of them represents a chakra. So I have that hanging at my altar, and I also have the chakra candle that I light at my altar when I do spells. And I light it most nights too, just if I'm not doing a spell, I'll light the candles and incense at my altar just to keep my magic alive when I'm not doing spells. But I try to practice as often as I can and pretty regularly with spells. So that's some of the different ways that you might see them. You can also see them represented in different art. A lot of the times you'll see them in the shape of like a lotus flower. So they're energy centers within us, but since we can't physically see them or touch them, we use other things like candles, crystals, and symbols to help us visualize them. So there are some more traditional names. I'm going to go over the 7 different chakras, and there are some more traditional names that are used for them. I'm going to use the modern names so I don't terribly butcher all the traditional names. I can try to pronounce them, but I am going to go with the more modern names. So the first one is the root chakra, which the traditional name is Muladhara. But the root chakra is located at the base of the spine. It's represented by the color red. And it also represents safety, stability, and survival. When the root chakra is balanced as it should be, you should feel grounded and secure. But when it's blocked or imbalanced, you may feel anxiety, fear, and instability. That's the root chakra. The second one is the sacral chakra. That is located in the lower abdomen. It's represented by the color orange. And it represents creativity, pleasure, and emotions. When it's balanced, you can feel passionate, creative, and emotionally open. When it's blocked or imbalanced, you may feel guilt or emotional numbness. The third one is the solar plexus chakra. That is located in the upper abdomen, and that is represented by the color yellow. That represents confidence, personal power. When it's balanced, you can feel motivated and confident. When imbalanced or blocked, you can feel low self-esteem or a lack of control. Number 4 is the heart chakra, located obviously in the center of the chest. And it is typically represented by the color green, but it can sometimes be represented by the color pink. Traditionally, it's usually represented by the color green. It also represents love, compassion, and connection. When balanced, you may feel loving and empathetic towards others and yourself. When blocked or imbalanced, you may feel jealousy and may feel the need to isolate. Number 5 is the throat chakra, located obviously in the throat. It's represented by the color blue. So this represents your communication and your truth. When your throat chakra is balanced, you can feel expressive and feel like you can be honest with yourself and with others. When imbalanced or blocked, you may have a fear of speaking and you may feel the need to be dishonest or be afraid to be honest with yourself or others. And then number 6 is called the third eye. So this one is located on the forehead between the eyebrows, and it's usually represented by the color indigo. It represents intuition and insight. So when balanced, you will have more clear thinking and intuitive. And when blocked, you may have confusion or feel a lack of direction. And then the 7th chakra is called the crown chakra, which this is located on the top of the head. It is typically represented by the color violet, or sometimes it is represented by the color white as well. And this represents spiritual connection and your higher consciousness. So when your crown chakra is balanced, you may feel peaceful, you may feel spiritual and spiritually connected. If it's blocked or imbalanced, you may feel a spiritual disconnection, and you may also feel a lack of purpose. So that is the 7 chakra system. That is all 7 of them, what they represent, the colors that represent them, their locations, and the differences between having them balanced or blocked or imbalanced. So now we're going to talk about how to balance your chakras when they are blocked or imbalanced. So I have this actually, while I'm thinking about it, I have this app on my phone. Now the app that I have is called Wicca, because that's the path that I follow. I am a Wiccan, and I did pay for the premium version, but you only have to pay once a year. And it's cheap, but on that app, it has other app suggestions. So I found another one, and it's called Chakra Healing. So you can download it from the App Store. It's called Chakra Healing Meditation, and it is free. I believe it has ads if you use the free version. It does have ads, but you can use the premium version if you want to. I use the free version of it. But it's Chakra Healing Meditation. And when you go onto the app, it just has a bunch of different meditations. You can actually take some like quizzes and answer some questions on there that can kind of tell you if you're, based on how you're feeling and how you answer the questions, it can tell you if your chakras are blocked or imbalanced, or if they're balanced as they should be. And it'll tell you which ones, and it tells you about them and what they're for and like how they're represented and what colors they are, kind of like I just did. And then there's even challenges on there. I'm looking at one now. It says like, join the 21-day challenge, where you log in every single day and do some tasks to help balance your chakras. So that's really something that's interesting. And then you can do an energy check every day. Once a day, you can check your energy and see how your chakras are balanced. And it'll show you your progress as you go, which is pretty cool. It's also got articles on there that you can read about chakras. And then it even has chakra wallpapers that you can use on your phone, and like add a bunch of different like witchy wallpapers you can use on your phone, which is cool because those are free as well. And then it also has meditation options on there so that you can do different meditations to help balance your chakras. I actually have done a couple of them myself. So if that's an app that you'd want to check out, I'm sure there are others you could also look at, but that is called Chakra Healing Meditation, and you can get it on the App Store. So some simple ways to balance chakras would be meditation and visualization. I'm going to break all these down. So there's meditation and visualization. There's actually crystals. Each chakra has a corresponding stone that goes with it. Affirmations. There's breath work, and then spending time in nature. So let's start with meditation. I'm going to actually walk you through a brief meditation that you can do to balance your chakras. Obviously, if you're driving or walking while listening to this or doing something, you want to be safe. So you can save this for later if you can't try it right now. But you want to start by finding a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. And you want to just gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Let your body begin to relax and release any tension you might be carrying. Start with the root chakra. Bring your awareness to your spine and picture a deep red light glowing here, and silently say, I am safe. I am grounded. Make sure you're picturing it strong and steady, the red glowing light. Now for your sacral chakra, which is in your lower abdomen, you want to move your intention just below your belly button. See a warm orange light flowing like water. And say, I allow myself to feel and create. You want to bring your awareness now to the solar plexus chakra, which is in your upper abdomen. Visualize a bright yellow light like the sun and say, I am confident. I am in control of my life. For your throat chakra, you want to bring your awareness to your throat. Picture a calming blue light and say, I speak my truth with clarity. Moving on to the third eye, which is in your forehead. Focus on the space between your eyebrows. See a deep indigo light glowing and say, I trust my intuition. And then lastly, you want to bring your awareness to the top of your head where your crown chakra is. Imagine a soft violet or white light connecting you to something greater. Now take a deep breath in and out. Feel all your energy centers aligned and flowing. So that is just a brief meditation that you can do. There are plenty of other meditations. You can look them up. You can use apps. You can do your own, because if you know where the chakras are, what they represent, if you have studied them enough to know, then you can meditate the way you want and help balance them in that way. So let's talk about some crystals. So like I said, each chakra has a crystal, certain crystals and stones that correspond with it. So starting with the root chakra, some crystals that correspond with that are red jasper, which is used for steadiness, grounding, and energy. There's black tourmaline, which is for protection. It absorbs negativity. I talked about black tourmaline in the last episode we did, all about crystals. If you listen to that, if not, definitely check that out because I talked all about some pretty common crystals and what they were used for and what they represent. For the root chakra, there is also hematite. This is stabilizing. And there is also smoky quartz, and that releases fear and stress. So to use these for your root chakra, you would just hold them in your hands or place them near your feet when relaxing. For the sacral chakra, which is emotions and creativity, you can use carnelian, which represents confidence and passion, orange calcite, and I apologize if I mess up any of these names, the pronunciation. That can uplift your mood, orange calcite. And then also sunstone, joy and personal power is what that one represents. I actually don't know if I've ever seen a sunstone. I would have to look. But I really just like the name of it being a sunstone, so I really want to know what they look like. And I think I might want to get myself a sunstone just because I like them. I like moonstones, so a sunstone. Oh wow, sunstones are pretty. I just looked them up. They are pretty. definitely have to get one. I have some that look like that, but it's not a sunstone. I digress. All right, so for the sacral chakra, there is also peach moonstone, which I also didn't know that was a thing, but it's pretty. So that's something I would like to get, and that's used for emotional balance. So to use these stones for your sacral chakra, you would place them over your lower stomach or keep them nearby during creative activities. For the solar plexus chakra, you can use citrine, that represents confidence and abundance. You can use tiger's eye, which represents courage, decision making. You can use yellow calcite, which represents, which can clear self-doubt. And then pyrite, which can help with motivation and strength. You would want to carry these in your pocket when you need a confidence boost. For the heart chakra, you could use rose quartz, which represents unconditional love. You could also use green aventurine, which can represent emotional healing. And there's rhodonite, which can represent forgiveness and balance. Malachite, which represents deep transformation. And you would use these by placing them over your heart during rest or meditation. For the throat chakra, there's blue lace agate, which is for calming and communication. There's lapis lazuli, that is for truth and wisdom. And then there is sodalite for clarity in speech, and also aquamarine for the courage to speak. So you would want to use these by holding them while journaling or speaking your intentions. For the third eye, there is amethyst, which represents spiritual awareness. Fluorite, which represents mental clarity. Labradorite, which represents intuition and psychic energy. Lepidolite, which represents calming the mind. You can use these by placing them on your forehead during meditation. So you'd obviously have to do a lying down meditation to do that. And then for your crown chakra, you can use clear quartz because it amplifies energy. You can use selenite because it's good for cleansing and high vibrations. Amethyst is also good for spiritual connection. Moonstone, I love moonstone, is good for intuition and flow. I actually told my girlfriend that I wanted a moonstone as my engagement ring should we ever get engaged, because I just really like it and I think it's like really pretty, and I found some really beautiful like moonstone rings that I would love. I don't care about having a diamond. Not that there's anything wrong with diamonds, but I like to be a little different. I just am a little different, and I just think a moonstone would be really cool. So I did tell her that, but I digress again. So, like I said, moonstone, intuition, and flow. So to use these, you would want to keep them near your head or near your bedside during rest or meditation. So as you can tell, each chakra has its own stones and crystals that match its energy and the colors. So you can think of them as little tools that just help bring energy back into balance. You don't need all of them. You can just choose whatever ones you feel drawn to use. So I also mentioned affirmations. There are chakra affirmations. If I currently read a daily affirmation book, it's not a chakra affirmation book. It's a affirmations for the inner child. I'm working on a lot of inner child healing from some inner child wounds and childhood trauma that I experienced. So that book is helpful, but there are actual affirmations for chakras. So one you could use for the root chakra is, I am safe and supported. I am grounded and secure. I trust that my needs are met. For the sacral chakra, you can use, I honor my emotions. I allow creativity to flow through me. I deserve pleasure and joy. For the solar plexus, you can use, I am confident in who I am. I trust myself and my decisions. I am worthy of success and respect. For the heart, you can use I give and receive love freely. I am worthy of love. I forgive myself and others. For the throat chakra, you can use the affirmation I speak my truth with confidence. My voice matters. I express myself clearly and honestly. For the third eye, I trust my intuition. I see clearly and understand deeply. I am connected to my inner wisdom. And for the crown chakra, I am connected to the universe. I trust the flow of life. I am open to divine guidance. So those are some affirmations that you can use. You can create your own, you can look up your own, but those can help balance your chakras as well. And then breath work, doing breath work with chakras. So I'm going to walk you through just another brief exercise that you could do with breath work. So you want to find a comfortable position, whether it's whether it's seated or lying down. You want to relax your shoulders, soften your jaw, unclench that jaw, and gently close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. Take a slow deep breath in and exhale fully. For the root chakra, as you breathe in, imagine a red light at the base of your spine. Feel it grounding you, connecting you to earth. Inhale and think, I am safe. Release tension and fear. Take 2 to 3 slow breaths here. For the sacral chakra, you want your awareness to be below your belly button. Visualize the warm orange glow. Inhale, I allow. Exhale, emotional tension. For the solar plexus, focus on the stomach and the upper abdomen. Visualize a bright yellow light growing stronger with each breath. Inhale, I am confident. Exhale, release self-doubt. For the heart chakra, see, I always want to say chakra. Visualize a soft green light expanding with each inhale. Inhale, I am love. Exhale, release heaviness or hurt. Let the chest feel open to light. For the throat, you want to focus on the throat. Visualize a calming blue light. Inhale, I speak my truth. And exhale, let go of anything left unsaid. Feel your voice and your expression opening. For the third eye, you want to focus on your forehead. Visualize a deep indigo light. Inhale, I trust my intuition. Exhale, release confusion, allowing clarity to settle in. And then for the crown chakra, you want to focus on the top of the head. Visualize a glowing white or violet light. Inhale, I am connected. Exhale, release control and simply be. Feel a sense of peace and openness with this. And then to close it, you can take one final deep breath in and slowly exhale. Bring awareness back to your entire body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So that is a little breathwork exercise that you can do to help balance your chakras. Again, there are tons more, or you can even make up your own, whatever resonates with you. Now for nature. So spending time in nature can actually also help balance chakras. So this is actually one of the easiest ways to balance your chakras. I mean, breath work's pretty easy too, but nature already exists in a state of balance. There's a rhythm to it and there's a flow to nature all the time. So when you step into nature, our energy begins to sync back up with that natural rhythm. So if you were to connect each chakra with nature, so let's say you were to connect the root chakra with nature, that would be for focusing on grounding. You would do things like walking barefoot on the grass or the dirt or the sand if you have that option. You can literally lean against a tree. You can sit on the ground. These things can help you feel safe, stable, and connected, like you're being held by the earth. For the sacral chakra, this is for flow and emotion. You can spend time near the water, whether it's the river, the lake, the ocean, a creek, or a crick. Me and my girlfriend have the debate between creek and crick all the time. So you can spend time by the water. Water reflects emotion and movement, and it helps you to release and flow instead of holding things in. For the solar plexus, for confidence and energy, you could stand in the sunlight, feel the warmth on your skin. That's something my girlfriend loves to do. She loves feeling the sunlight on her skin. She loves basking in the sun. Because the sun actually energizes the solar plexus chakra and it helps build confidence, motivation, and inner strength. For the heart chakra, which is for love and connection, you could walk through the trees, walk through gardens, walk through forests, things like that, because nature naturally opens the heart, reminding us of connection, compassion, and the beauty around us. For the throat, which represents expression, you can listen to sounds around you like the birds, you can listen to the wind, you can listen to the leaves blowing around, listen to the water if you're sitting by water, all those different kind of sounds out in nature. You can also even speak out loud, you can hum, or you can sing softly while you're outdoors. So nature encourages authentic expression without judgment. That's why it's used for the throat chakra, because the throat chakra is for expression and nature encourages that authentic expression. For the third eye, which is your intuition, you could sit quietly and observe, notice the different patterns in nature of, the plants and just basically everything on nature. My girlfriend and I actually went to a state park not long ago and did a little hiking with one of our dogs, and we found a tree that had been split, had fallen, so you could see the rings and the pattern on the inside, and we both just kind of put our hand on it and felt the pattern. I took a picture of it. That even right there, that's observing and noticing the patterns. That's balancing my third eye chakra. You can also notice the colors. You can notice the different sensations of the breeze. You can feel different things in nature. This stillness just helps strengthen your intuition and your inner awareness. And then for the crown chakra, which is for connection, you could look up at the sky, whether it's day or night. You can watch the clouds. You could look up at the sky at night and watch the stars and the moon. That's one of my favorite things to do. I love seeing the stars and the moon. So it could be clouds, it could be stars, but this creates a sense of connection to something that is just bigger than yourself. So just remember, nature doesn't ask you to be anything other than what you are, and sometimes that's exactly what your energy needs to find its balance again. So that is a little information about chakras, what they are, what they represent, how to balance them, how you can feel if they're imbalanced, all of that. I hope you learned something from this episode. Thank you so much for walking this journey with me. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love to hear from you. Leave your feedback, share your experiences, or ask me any questions. Don't forget to leave a rating too. It does help others discover our magical circle. Make sure to share, follow, and subscribe so you never miss a cauldron conversation. For all the latest updates, visit the Crystals, Cauldrons, and Conversations Facebook page. You can even join the Triple C Coven for even more magic. You can check out the show notes for a recap on today's daily enchantment and moon muse. And you can also now support the podcast through buymeacoffee.com if you would like to do that. To find this particular podcast, it would be buymeacoffee.com/CCC podcast. And that is actually a wrap for season 1. So season 1 is now done. I will be back after a short break to prep season 2, but I will be back in May with season 2 with all new episodes, all new information. I have plans, so I hope you'll tune in for season 2. Thank you so much for staying with me through season 1, all 10 episodes. I really hope you appreciated them. I would love to hear from you. You can even email me too at the Witchy Podcast. It's thewitchypodcast@gmail.com. If you have a topic you want me to talk about, if you would maybe want to be a guest at some point, because I'm looking to start adding guests soon, reach out to me. I'd love to know your feedback. I'd love to know what you want to hear. I appreciate you so much. I hope you'll come sit around the cauldron with me in May when the second season drops. I will be releasing the dates soon, and I will be waiting to welcome you to the coven. And as always, stay magical.